All right, here we go. All right, everybody, how we doing here today? Brian Stevens, nice to talk to you. It's about 2:45. Everyone's probably right in the middle of their work. Stacy, Stanley, Kevin, you guys are probably, Michelle. We got Vince. We got people jumping on right now. You guys are probably going through the hard part of your day, the busy part of your day. Totally get that. What's up, Lindsay? What's up, Salvatore, Teresa? How we doing, Jennifer Miller? Okay, there's a couple of things that I want to get around to today, and first thing is this. I was watching this documentary, and it was about the Revolutionary War. My 9-year-old daughter. Hey, what's going on, guys? My 9-year-old daughter is going to recreate part of that play Hamilton, or excuse me, my 10-year-old daughter right now. And if you've ever seen that play and how fast they talk, I'm like, this is going to be a nightmare. This thing's going to just not work well. But I was talking with somebody about the Revolutionary War, and I thought this was pretty interesting. What's up, Shane? How we doing? Shane and John and Brian. And here's what they said about the Revolutionary War. They said it was the first war where we understood that to win a war, it wasn't about the damage that you could inflict. It's about how much pain you could tolerate. Okay? Now think about that. There's two ways of looking. Who's going to win the war? Is the person going to win the war who can inflict the most damage? Or is the person going to win the war who could deal with the most suffering? It's kind of that's a teeter-totter either way of looking at things. And we, of course, in our country, we've always had the opinion that you inflict more pain, you're going to win a war. But what we've learned subsequently is that sometimes the propensity to tolerate pain is much more significant than your ability to wage war. And so why do I bring this up? I bring this up for the simple reason of the housing market that we're going into. And I think some people are looking at it a little wrong. Now, I saw some stats today that kind of blew my mind. And I think what I'm talking about here, guys, is we are going into a market that's going to be very difficult, and I cannot see any easy outcome for it. So I want to share some of this stuff with you. So what we have here is, what you're looking at here is, this is pretty trippy. On the right-hand side of the graph, it says that there are 17% of people who are currently looking for houses. 17% of people who are looking for houses right now can afford more than half the houses on the market. Okay, so only 17% of the people could buy more than 50% of the inventory if they chose to do that. Now, I look in Vacaville. I'm in Cowtown, California. It's still California. And I look around, like, from a first-time home buyer's perspective, I'm looking at what these home prices are and people's ability to save. You get an entry-level home that's $500,000, so I'm going to have to put $200,000 down as a first-time home buyer, to have a $300,000 loan. That becomes a real difficult challenge for a first-time home buyer. I'm going to have to put $100,000 down to have a $400,000 loan with MI. Again, that becomes difficult, and the payments on these things, like for my lifestyle, there's no way I would want that payment. Or you're going to go on an FHA loan for $500,000, with your finance and monthly MI. I mean, it becomes unbearable. So it makes a lot of sense that only 17% of people who could buy homes can actually buy more than 50% of the given inventory. That is a sliver. It is a sliver. And that's down from 21% because home values keep going up because our inventory is so low. Now, this is problematic. But I want you to think about this on the opposite end. And by the way, I'm going to do what I always talk about. I'm going to talk about conflict resolution. I'm giving the problem right now, and we're going to talk about the solution or best practices in a market like we find ourselves in. So right now, that means 82% of people who are looking for houses, 82% can afford less than 50% of the given inventory. So 50% of the inventory, you just wipe it off the map, okay? That means virtually every single person right now, your average person buying your average home, every single person right now, virtually everybody, can afford less than half of the inventory on the market, and that number is up from 79%, okay? So we've got 50% of our inventory that's only available to 17%, and that's assuming they want to buy that more expensive house, okay? 83%, half of the people can't buy at least half of the homes. So is this a problem? Yes, it is. And let me explain why. So right now, everybody's talking about inventory as being a problem. We have record low inventory numbers right now. Record low, okay? We've seen this, I think I have it over here somewhere. We have it over here, and I just got this from Inman today, that our housing inventory has hit an all-time low in the fourth quarter of 2017, and it's gone down even lower since then. So we have an epidemic in terms of all the houses that are available. Now, here's the point. Take the record low inventory numbers that we have right now, and then slash them in half and take half the inventory and throw it away. And what you're left with is what basically 9 out of 10 of your clients can buy. What's up, Christine? 9 out of your 10 clients can buy half of the inventory of our record low inventory that we have right now. So, we talk about, millennials don't want to buy homes. Millennials don't want to, why don't millennials want to buy homes? Millennials don't want to buy homes because they like living with mom and dad, because owning a house doesn't matter to them, because they're much more flippant. They're a bunch of beatniks and they want to be within 2 feet of a coffee shop next to where they work over at Yahoo and all that stupid shit, right? Well, that might be the case, but have you considered this? Look at this. 86% of millennials can afford less than half of the inventory currently on the market. Now, they're the youngest generation of people buying houses. It's going to be the Generation Z, which is right around the corner. We just talked about that a couple of days ago. These are people who were born after 1995. My God, I feel old. But millennials are the one we've been like, there are professionals over at NAR. There's professionals all over the place who are going to give you all the reasons why millennials aren't buying homes. Well, as you know, the simplest reason is usually the most accurate and correct reason. And what we know now is 86% of those millennials can only afford less than half the inventory. So again, take our record shortage that we have in inventory right now, cut it in half, throw half of it in the ocean, then the other half, those millennials who want to buy them, they're fighting for that 50% and under, the lowest 50% of the limited inventory we have, and they're fighting over that. And that's why it's really difficult. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you understand, as a lender, you probably always felt that your role in a transaction was more important than the real estate agent, and I would by and large agree with that. I really honestly would. And for realtors on right now, I don't mean to be a dick about this, but I kind of feel that way. Lenders are the ones getting these loans approved. They're dealing with much more paperwork. They're dealing with compliance. They're dealing with guidelines. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff. But right now, as a loan officer, you need to understand that the difference between getting your offer accepted and not accepted could be the real estate partner that you are choosing to work with. I mean, the difference could actually be the agent right now. The difference between you closing deals next month and not closing deals next month with our limited inventory, which we only have half of, could be the quality of the real estate agent, their ability to negotiate a deal, their reputation with other agents amongst your local community, because we know real estate in any local community is like, a schoolyard at a junior high school with cliques and popular kids all over the place. You want to make sure that you're with the right people. It's hugely, hugely important. So as I'm looking at this right now, do we have a problem? Yes. And again, for those of you who are just joining right now, we have our limited inventory, okay? We know it. We're hitting all-time lows right now. Absolute all-time lows with the inventory that we currently have, okay? And yet what we now know is 83% of those looking to buy a house cannot even think of buying 50% of that inventory. So slash our inventory in half, and that's what you're dealing with, okay? Only 17% of those buying houses right now can afford more than 50% of the inventory that's on the market. That's a big problem. Of these groups, millennials, 86% of them cannot buy 50% of the limited inventory we have. So these are the problems right now, okay? These are the problems, and this is why people are having a hard time closing loans, closing deals. We're not in a housing recession because property values are doing good, but we are in a lending recession right now. We are in a volume recession right now. We are in a liquidity recession right now. So loan officers and real estate agents, what do we do to fight this? Well, it's pretty simple what we do to fight this. Over on the right-hand side, you're going to see that in the fourth quarter of 2017, 21% of the people could afford over 50% of what was on the market. That number's down to 17%. This is a real tall order, but this is where we're at. You have to find those 17%. You have to find the people who don't have to buy the medium sales price and down, the people who can buy the medium sales price and up, okay? Because the only way for this to change without your personal input would be for new home construction to build a whole bunch of small, smart homes, entry-level homes. Well, that's not happening. You know, if you look at any studies from the National Association of Home Builders right now, they're actually building McMansions again. The average size of a house that they're building is like 2,800 square feet. This is your average size. Why are they doing this? Well, because of labor shortages. They're going to get the most bang for their buck on the lots that they have. So the most bang for the buck in a limited inventory environment for a new home construction builder is to build a large property that they can sell for more money, which is exactly the opposite of what we need right now. We need to have more entry-level new home construction smart properties. You know, if you have the median sales price is $300,000, you need to be building $200,000 houses, and it's just not happening. Okay, so we can't look to the new home builders to fix the problem. Can we look to interest rates to fix the problem? Well, that's not going to happen. Okay, so we know right now with inflation that anything that's going to happen with the rates is they're going to stay where they're at right now. They're going to continue to go up. We know this for a fact because the rest of the economy is totally kicking ass. So we can't look to rates. Can we look to policy right now? No, we can't look to policy. In fact, I'm going to show you something that's going to just make you laugh your ass off in a couple of minutes if you stick around with me. No, we can't look to policy. The only thing that we can look at is what we have right now and what we could possibly do about it. So from an individual standpoint, I could say, hey, listen, work harder, because we know most of your competition's not going to do that. Of course, that's part of the answer. But the other part is we have to really target this 17% right here on the right-hand side, that 17% who could afford more than 50% of the houses. So there's two things that we can do as far as I can tell. The first thing is that real estate agents, you need to take your properties off of Zillow, all right? And you need to take your properties off of Realtor.com. You need to take your properties off of Trulia. And I'm going to explain a strategy that was shared with me from one of my good friends and a real estate agent, Tony Ray, down in Tucson, Arizona. So here's what he does. And think about this. It makes perfect sense. He's been employing this strategy now as a real estate agent for a couple of years. So, and Tony Ray's a top producing real estate agent. He will be in this market. He will be in the next market. And he told me, he goes, Brian, he goes, here's what happens. He goes, you put your signage up in front of your house. He goes, and I started noticing like a lot of my signage, I wasn't getting hits on it. And it didn't make sense to me. Like, why am I not getting hits on my signs? Okay? Now, let's face it. Zillow has a veritable monopoly on technology and real estate right now, courtesy of real estate agents giving them all their shit, all their listings, all their equity, all the things that make you wonderful. You just gave it to them. Okay? But they have a veritable monopoly on listings and certainly on technology when it comes to listings. So what Tony Ray figured out was people were actually driving by his listings, right? And they would look at his house, and then they would pick up their phone, and then they would go click their Zillow app, and it would pull up everything on that property. So there's no need for the consumer who's driving by the house to pick up your flyer, to call on your short code, to call you up. God forbid, calling you up means I have to speak with you. Why would I do that when, you know, these millennials who can't afford the homes, why would I do that when all I have to do is open my Zillow app, and then it's going to geolocate me? I'm going to click on your property. I've got all your pictures. I've got all your amenities. I've got every single thing I need to know. Now, that doesn't do Tony Ray any good, does it? And what's going to happen is when that millennial, that Gen Xer, or that boomer engages on their Zillow app while they're out in front of your listing, they're going to engage through Zillow. And when they engage through Zillow, that boomer, that Gen Xer, that millennial, their information is going to be sent to the 3 highest bidders at Zillow. Okay? So now my information, if I'm a consumer, my information is going to go to the 3 Zillow premier agents who are spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to be there. And I get why this whole thing is, I understand the process. I totally get it. You know, and Tony may be one of these people because he's probably getting pinged through Zillow too because he is the listing agent. He is the agent of record. But now his information is being shared with other agents, which means he now has a lead that's being stepped on. And because those other agents who are paying thousands of dollars to be premier agents on Zillow Do you think they're going to call that client who's looking at my listing or Tony Ray's listing in my scenario? And the answer is emphatically yes. Okay? So Tony Ray, as a means of having more control over those who are looking at his house, he keeps his properties off of Zillow for the first 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? And he actually shares this information with his seller. He says, do you realize if we keep your property off of Zillow, okay, for a couple of weeks in a market as hot as we have right now? You know, this is funny. Real estate agents, I hear this all the time. Oh my God, my listings, they're selling in 2 days. Then why put it on Zillow? Well, why do that? If you have a listing that's selling in a week, why are you putting it on Zillow? Zillow should be, it should be a last resort scenario for you. You know, well, it won't sell, damn it, better put it on Zillow. No, he knows his properties are selling fast, so he keeps them off of Zillow. And what that allows him to do is control the leads of the people who are interested in his house. Because no longer can that person drive by the house, pull up their Zillow app, hit go and get all the information, and then have their information shipped off to my competitors. No. They have to call Tony and say, hey man, I'm looking for your house on Zillow. It's not here. And Tony Ray's going, yeah, you're right. It's not there. You know, and he actually gets more people to engage him now because he's not on Zillow. They're thinking something's broken. Because your average consumer out there just assumes that every property in the country is on Zillow. He's getting people to actually call him saying, oh my God, your property's not on Zillow. What the fuck is wrong with you? Well, no, there's nothing wrong. We choose not to put it up there. By the way, are you interested? I'd love to help you. And so this is creating an enormous and effective vortex in his local market for him. First of all, he's controlling the buyers more, not just the seller. He's keeping that local, he's keeping that home, he's keeping that in-house. And how he sells that to his sellers is that, hey, listen, we're going to double in this thing. We're going to be able to throw some more money your way. It'll probably get more for your listing and keep the values up in our neighborhoods. Are you okay with this? He says every single one of his clients say, absolutely, let's do it. And he said, as a result of taking this one strategy of keeping his properties off Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com, that he's actually closing more deals. So how do we combat against the fact that only 17% of the population can buy all of the houses or most of the houses on the market? When you have one of those high-end houses, you know, if the median sales price for a house in your area is $350,000 and you just landed like a listing for $550,000, do yourself, do your clients, do your company a favor. Do not put that property on Zillow, Realtor.com, okay, or Trulia. Now, what that allows you to do, guys, is that allows you to control that 17%. You know, here's my thing. You know, big hooks catch big fish. You know, that's how it works. So if you have a house that's high in value, you're going to catch more big fish, more people who fall into that 17% category than if you have an entry-level home. Now, of course, you're going to have some delusional people who think they can afford a $900,000 house, you know, while they're a short order cook over at Denny's. They're not an executive chef. You're a short order cook. You're making $20,000, not $200,000 a year. I get that person. And even then, sell them a house too. But in every scenario, especially on your high-end homes, real estate agents understand it behooves you, your clients, in fulfilling your fiduciary and also being a benefit to your brokerage to keep those properties off Zillow for the first few weeks. And be very clear why you're doing this. Be very clear why you're doing this with your sellers. You'll find out it will be better for you, be better for your brokerage, and be better for your seller. So that is one way to combat against the fact that very few people can buy half of the inventory that's on the market. Hey, Andrew, can you do me a favor, bub? Can you give me my power source here? My computer's getting low. Okay, the second thing that we can do, guys, hold on, let me move it over here. Okay, so the second thing that we can do to combat the problems that we're facing in 2018 and 2019, this is very simple, okay? And this goes back to just straight good old-fashioned database marketing. Now, if you have in your CRM, in your LOS as a loan officer and a real estate agent, I would hope you would have something similar, but it probably won't have the income figures. But what you want to do is you want to go in, and if you have a way of organizing your clients by income, that would be a great thing to do. So what you want to do is you want to go back 3 to 8 years, okay? People who bought a house 3 years ago, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 years ago. That's our window of time. Then what we want to do is filter according to income. And we want to start our contacts with those who make more money than less, because those are going to be the ones who have the highest probability of being in that 17th percentile, which is where we need them to be. Now, you want to reach out to them and tell them, hey, this is, in fact, a great time to buy. Now, I was looking at what Barry Habib was just showing, how we did a webinar today with him where, how you sell in a increasing rate environment, and he's got great points. And it basically boils down to this. Even as rates increase, with our property values outpacing our rates and you paying down your loan, you're going to be ahead of the game, even if your rate is, you're currently at a 4%, but you're buying in a 5% rate environment. You're now, instead of leveraging $200,000, you're leveraging $400,000. So if you have 5% appreciation, you're going to be getting 2.5 times the appreciation, which means you're going to be creating more wealth for yourself. Excuse me, I got to get my power source because Andrew's busy. 1 second. It's all good, bub. You're busy. I understand. No. I totally get it. You're busy. You like that passive aggressiveness? You like that? It's like, hey, Andrew. Oh, he's too busy. Okay, so it's hitting our database up. It's hitting our database up and starting and trying to do a filter by who earns more money versus those who earn less money. Now, the other component of this is it doesn't necessarily matter, because let's say you sold somebody a house 8 years ago who doesn't make a ton of money. They probably make a little more now, but they've also had a chance to gain a whole shit ton of equity. So you may have somebody who makes less money, but maybe they're sitting on a couple $100,000 in equity, and that money is going to get them out of a loan that has MI, and that's going to get them into a house that's more of a lifestyle change for them. Let's face it, a $500,000 house is always a hell of a lot nicer than a $200,000 house to live in. It just is. So what you're really doing at this point is you're really selling that move up and lifestyle change, and the fact that the higher rate via MBS Highway, and if you've never seen it before, I'd highly encourage you guys to go check it out, because it will help you sell in a high rate environment. But you are now creating people who are going to fit into that 17th percentile versus the 83% who are struggling to get anything. Okay, so this is a great tool. And real estate agents, in the process, I want you to understand this. If you're getting somebody who's going to buy, if you're compelling them, and we saw a study from NAR that was done a few months ago, and it said 73% of the people who own homes right now think it's a good time to sell. They're not selling, but they think it's a good time to sell. We saw a study from Zillow, and that study from Zillow said that homeowners' belief of their value versus actual values are now closer than they've ever been. So meaning, a year and a half ago, buyers or sellers are like, my house is worth $500,000. And appraisers are like, no, it's not. It's worth $400,000. That gap was wide. Now that gap is small. Meaning people who own houses are more realistic about what the value of their house is, okay? And they also, by and large, think it's a great time to sell. So if we're going out and attacking our database and we're working with our trusted loan officers, not sweatshops in the middle of the country like Keller Williams, but our trusted loan officer partners who we've worked with for years, sometimes even decades, they have the ability to go ahead and pull your past clients and go ahead and filter out by income, so you can create a real true plan of attack for going out there and getting the 17%. When we do this, you get listings, you get sales, you create more inventory, and it actually will effectively fight against the limited inventory problems that we have right now. And as far as I can tell, these are the only solutions that real estate agents and lenders have right now going forward. The Mortgage Bankers Association for lenders out there just came out and said that 36% of the market is refinances, a number that is horrifyingly low. Usually refinances are representing like 60-65%. We are half of what a normal market is for refis. You're not going to find salvation in refis if you're a lender. You're not going to find salvation by going out there and just working with your existing status quo database that you have, because chances are 83% of your clients can't buy half the stuff that's on the market right now, even if they wanted to. That just creates frustration. You have to find a way to pinpoint those who can actually buy the homes, and we now know that number is probably 17%. It could be higher or lower in your market, but certainly that's going to be a national average, and something we need to take and keep in mind when we're putting together our marketing efforts. The only way to do that is twofold, what I just shared with you. Talk your real estate agents into keeping their properties off of Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com, and capturing more of those leads for themselves so they can control those and keep them in-house and with you. And the other way is database marketing, filtering by income and equity, so you can go out there and get people off the fence and get them buying homes. So this is where we're at right now. Okay. So if anybody has any thoughts on this, feel free to give me a buzz, and then I'll jump into my next point. Bill Black says he agrees that realtors was the number one reason I went into last spring with 12 pre-app approval buyers, and only 7 ended up buying due to the agents not educating buyers, not working weekends, or no skills in negotiation. It seems every year less and less agents, buyers training is going on. This, Bill Black, you are so right on this point. And again, this is why I really want to stress to lenders out there. It's more important now than ever to have the right team in place. It's not just the lender, it's the agents who you're working with. For people who own mortgage companies, they always think getting more lenders is the answer to all their problems. More butts in the seats means you're going to close more deals. No, you're going to get that loan officer who closes one deal every other month. He's going to screw the whole thing up. He's going to clog up your lines. He's going to, fuck up your fundings, your underwriting, your processing. No, let that jackass go be somebody else's problem. It's not more butts in the seats. The same thing with loan officers. They think just working with real estate agents is good. No, it's not. Right now, more than ever, as Bill Black just said here, you need to work with great agents, okay, who understand the art of negotiation, who understand, who have a reputation that is going to get your people into homes where others are going to fail, okay? It is hugely, hugely important. I can't stress this enough because I listen to a lot of real estate agents and lenders, and this is one of the biggest things I hear. By the way, here's another one, loan officers. And we've said this before, so bear with me if I'm being redundantly redundant. I was speaking with, it was Tony Ray, and he goes, we were talking about, hey, if we had the lenders calling us after they sent out their pre-approval letter, it would mean the difference to me. Meaning, we put out our pre-approval letters and it speaks up for itself. But what about you as a loan officer also made an outgoing phone call to that real estate agent who has that listing and said, hey, I want to tell you about my borrower. I want to tell you why they're great. Here's what's cool about them. Here's why I like them. Here's why they're strong. Make them human, and that might just be the difference between getting accepted and not accepted in the hard market. It's huge. So Jason Northcutt says, Bill Black, lenders are just as bad about not wanting to work weekends or evenings. And that's true too. Listen, there is nobody who's coming away clean on this thing. I talk about this a lot, that lenders have to be the trusted, valued partners of real estate agents. Somebody who is hell-bent on not only their success, but the success of the real estate agent partners. You are partners. You are equals in this whole thing. You're working towards each other's success. There are good lenders and bad lenders, and there are good realtors and bad realtors, and this is absolutely the truth. I'm saying for those lenders out there who are committed to the success, their own personal success, and that of their referral partners, you need to find good agents. And by the way, Jason Northcutt, you're absolutely right. You have to have great lenders as well. Now, Eli says, you still on Keller Mortgage? Yeah, I'm not getting off Keller Mortgage, by the way. And I see myself as an advocate for loan officers. There's a lot of loan officers right now who are finding themselves on the outside looking in because of this stupid form that Keller put out. And I've got a voice where people are listening. So, yeah, I'm going to stick on it. I'm going to stick on it until they get that stupid form and get rid of it. I don't care that they have a mortgage company. I just don't like what they're doing, and I'm going to show that to you in a second. Sean Guerrero says, Ashley Smith, this is the voice in the background. I was listening to this. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. And then Brian says, have buyers agents include loan officers on offer. Loan officers should call listing agents. By the way, Brian, this is exactly what I was saying. They should call listing agents and send strong emails about the borrowers, validate financials, and speed up the closings. It makes a lot of difference. This is so true. This is my point. When I was talking with Tony Ray, I said, would this be the difference between, actually accepting an offer or not accepting? He goes, I would absolutely counsel, my client to give serious consideration to the team in place who shows more dedication to what they're doing, especially in a market where you have multiple offers on a property. Okay, so my last point I wanted to share with you guys here today is we're talking about compliance, and I was just having a conversation with a mortgage company a few minutes ago about compliance, and I was laughing my ass off because I have a lot of compliance conversations with a lot of mortgage companies. So basically, every mortgage company has like some 65-year-old guy who's working compliance, who knows nothing about social media, Yet all marketing is now done via social media, which really kind of puts you in a race with a blindfold on. They remember a world where when I was reading the Chicago Tribune every day. No, it's a different world, and there's different questions when it comes to compliance. But I find it funny if it wasn't so annoying. And the other part about a compliance department, okay, we hire our compliance experts. A compliance expert has a duty to find fault. Okay, a compliance department is like a window repair company that owns BB guns. Okay, if they are just approving everything, why do I need the compliance department? And then we put a 65-year-old guy in place. Not that every 65-year-old doesn't know anything about social media, but none of you know anything about social media. Okay, so anyways, I always laugh when I'm talking about this because you may recall that there was just, and we shared this on the National Real Estate Post, but Mick Mulvaney, who's now the head of the CFPB, who's replaced Richard Cordroy, is the exact opposite of Richard Cordroy, where Richard Cordroy was overzealous in his desire to go out there and find enforcement actions to punish people. As he said, he was a new sheriff, and they were out for blood and getting their pound of flesh, and they did, and it seemed very, very unfair to us. Well, we now have Mick Mulvaney who goes in there who says, I have too much power, you would be scared if you knew how much, and this is a ridiculous agency. And now he's put out a memo, an internal memo, that says that we're basically not enforcing anything anymore. Okay? I mean, you're looking at this and I'm going, wow. I mean, the pendulum, whoosh, whoosh, has gone back the other way. And to prove that it's gone back the other way, what you're looking at right here is this is the boilerplate CFPB form that they send back when you have problems. So you may recall I asked loan officers and real estate agents to turn Keller Mortgage in, and they did by the thousands. And so this is the form they all got back, and we know this because our viewers are awesome, and they were cool enough to send the stuff back to us. And here's what it says. Here's what we did with your complaint. They basically put it in a database, okay? We're not doing anything. We're putting it in a database. Options to consider. You might sue, but you probably don't want to. What will my complaint do? And that's the interesting part. What will my complaint do? And what they say there is, if we get enough complaints, we're going to forward this on. I don't have my glasses, but I think it says the OCC or the DOJ. It's in there. You guys could probably read it better than me right now. But they will forward this on for enforcement actions if they see trends, okay? And here's what we're doing with Keller Mortgage. We are actually creating trends, okay? People are looking at what they're doing and saying that this is it is guilty of disparate impact, and it's guilty of being deceptive and misleading advertising. And it is deceptive and misleading when you have real estate agents that are going out there and basically giving you terms of loans without an MLS license, and they're doing so and not explaining how you're getting a no-fee loan. And when they're showing examples of no-fee loans, they don't know what your fees are because they might be different than somebody else's fees, so they can only make assumptions, and those assumptions are misleading. So what we said was we walked people through how to go ahead and file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau against Keller Mortgage, and they did so. So our hope is that they're going to get enough of those complaints where it'll get handed off to the OCC or the DOJ or HUD or one of them, and they will at least look into this and create an enforcement action. But the other thing to consider on this is, just because the CFPB is now basically, a dead horse, it doesn't necessarily mean that, we have a substitute teacher and we can do whatever we want to do in the classroom right now. Because a lot of other agencies have said that they're going to pick up that regulatory enforcement action from the CFPB. So you do have your attorneys general, your state attorneys general, who have had enforcement actions in the past and will continue to have so in the future. So there's our states to look to. You still have HUD, you still have the OCC, you still have the DOJ, and you still have your tort type of lawsuits in the event that there was something that was egregious enough for as many people. But to let you know, no, we're not going to drop the Keller thing. In fact, we're going to keep going full steam ahead until they take that misleading, non-compliant form out of their package for those that they mandate it with, and until they have their real estate agents quit advertising for Keller Mortgage and doing so in a deceptive fashion, and quit offering a product which creates disparate impact. And as you guys probably know, disparate impact is where you have a outcome that is going to be biased towards one group over another group. Obviously, the underserved groups are the ones who find themselves on the low rungs of the socioeconomic ladder and have the problems with this. Until those things quit, of course, we're going to keep going forward with this. And so that was kind of the 2 points I wanted to get across to you guys today. I'm going to see if there's any. By the way, if anybody does have any questions, feel free to give me a buzz. I'll check out and see if we have any more from you guys over here. Sean Grow got you, Brian. You got that one. I'm an advocate for loan officers, and I'm a Keller Williams agent. One is not exclusive of the other one. Eli, I would probably like you a whole bunch. In fact, I just had some Keller agents in my office a couple of days ago. People who've been friends of mine for generations, and that will always be the case. Again, I just want you to understand this. It's hard, like, Eli, if like your lender said, hey, Eli, I love you, you're awesome, dude, but my mortgage company is now going to have a form for all your referrals that's going to say, hey, if you quit working with Eli at Keller Williams, I'll take 2% off of your commission, or I'll take 2% of your commission, I'll give you $15,000 back. Now, Eli, I'm going to keep working with you, but I got to put this in front of every one of your referrals. But that form's even worse. It says, Eli, no, seriously, this is even more extraordinary than what I'm telling you. The form goes on to say, let me show you examples of how much money you're going to save if you leave Eli. And you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't send your clients to a person who is basically saying you're a damn fool if you stick with Eli. It's just common sense. I'm not being wound up or weird about it, but it is kind of common sense. You wouldn't do that. And Eli, I'd be willing to bet you'd have a hard time supporting a company, and maybe your guy's not doing it, but the rest of the company is doing it, and it's just a matter of days, weeks, or months before your guy has to do it too. I'm thinking that, Eli, you're probably concerned about your family, and you would rightfully take your business elsewhere. That's my thinking there. Ashley Smith is a Keller Williams agent. This is Sean Guerrero. What's up, brother? Sean's one of my good friends. Is a Keller Williams agent, and we were on the phone while I was watching you. Oh, okay, gotcha. Was she going, I hate that guy? Well, I don't hate her. I hope she doesn't hate me. Okay, Eli, one more time. It says, loan officers and realtors must start working as a team. That's exactly what I'm saying, Eli. Like I said, we get along. They're not vendors. We're partners. And by the way, we are not tails on dogs either, as Gary Keller said. My loan officer partners and my title reps all treat each deal as if we are in-house sitting in an office under the same umbrella. Eli, like I said, dude, me and you are in the same boat. That's what I'm saying. Work with great teams right now. It makes it hard, like I said, when the owner of one of these teams has his stated goal is to burn my business down, which is what Gary Keller said. That's hard for me to accept when the person who controls 150,000 real estate agents says his stated goal is to burn my business down. Bill Black says, but Jason Northcutt, the issue with realtors not working weekends is most homes go on the market Thursday, open houses are the weekends. Yeah, I mean, the weekend thing is kind of a hard thing to do. I will tell you this, though, for loan officers and real estate agents out there. If you guys have ever checked out Pre-App 1003, it's like $39 a month, and I've been doing some great, like what you're looking at right now, this is OBS, okay? So over here, my ability to do this and show you this and change my slides out, all of this is with OBS, okay? So what I can do is I've actually taken Facebook Live to where I can produce it, okay? And I get a lot of more views on Facebook Live than I would from just uploading a video, so it behooves me to do it this way. Now with Pre-App 1003, you could actually put a short code up here where it says, hey, by the way, Eli, real estate agent Eli, I hope you're still on, or Steve. Let me see, we still probably have, I think Eli still might be here, cool. Okay, so like Eli, you could actually have a Pre-App agent where you're talking about the things that are important to you in real estate, and you can have over here, it could say, to get Eli's top 5 tips for staging a house, text Eli to 33255. So somebody who's watching the live can pick up their phone and text Eli 33255 and hit go. And when they do that, on the other side of that is going to be a video of you, Eli, saying, thanks for texting. Eli Torres over here. Here's my top 5 tips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the best thing you could do is get pre-qualified for your next move. Fill out the short form down below that you're working with your trusted lender who's on your team. Love that, Eli. You know, who's it's going to be on there. And you're capturing everybody's information. And you're capturing that information from the moment they text, okay? The moment they text. So a great thing for you to do would be able to produce your Facebook Live as I'm doing right now, and you can do that through Open Broadcaster software. I'll train you guys on this. In fact, I have a webinar next week, Open Broadcaster software, and then you can get Pre-App Agent, which is like $29 a month, or you can get Pre-App 1003 for loan officers, and it's $39 a month, and you get your own text words, so you can go ahead and do this same type of thing, and it's really, really cool. And Michael Fisher, I know he understands that. Lindsay Sills, OBS is the service. That's right. What's the name of the service? Okay, so it's called OBS. How can I make you look at this? I don't know if I can necessarily right now. If you go to Open Broadcaster Software, and you can download it for free. It's like Linux, where anyone can change the code. Nobody owns it, and it's really, really great. Kids have known about this for years. Open Broadcaster was used for kids who were streaming video games on YouTube, and so we're just starting to use it. And it's something that my team and people in my sphere of influence, like Lindsay Sills, hopefully soon Dave Zelinki, hopefully Eli and Sean Guerrero, but there's a handful of loan officers who we've been working with this. And it's really, really cool, especially when you're adding it with short codes like on Pre-App 1003. Now, you notice I have my phone number up here. I don't know how many views I've had, but I'll bet you I've got a lot of views on here. Not one person has called. Not a single person has called me, okay? Lindsay hasn't called. Mike hasn't called. Sean hasn't called. Dave hasn't called. I know all you guys. No one's called. Why not? I don't know. Seems like it's too much. But let's say over here, I had something that said, hey, here's my special tip for this. Do you think you would text it so then you don't have to talk and go live with me? The answer is probably yes. So phone numbers don't work. This is something I've learned from going live now for a couple of years. Phone numbers don't work. Text codes do work. So when you put Pre-App 1003 or Pre-App Agent together with OBS, you've created a combination that works out really well. I just did this with a gal. Her name's Monica Jones, and she works at Cross Country Mortgage. And she never shot a video before. Oh, somebody's doing it. It's Dave Zelinki, I bet. Let's see who it is. Hello, who's there?
Hey, it's Sean Guerrero.
Oh, Sean Guerrero. I was going to say Dave Zelinki. What's going on, Sean?
Dude, I'm not going to back down from a Facebook Live challenge. Did you just really shout me out like that?
I did. I totally did.
Oh, man, we're still live?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Oh, all right then. Thanks for the OBS link, but I'm watching the show, love the stuff. I really did not know you were still live, man.
Yeah, no, this is That's
my fault.
No, I appreciate you coming live, man. This is great. By the way, thank you for your cornerback. By the way, we'll be sure to look down on you in third place this year in football.
You and the Niners. You guys got a great squad out there. But no, seriously, the stuff that you guys are talking about with Keller Mortgage, I got to say, is on point. I was actually sitting down with a Keller agent, and the thing is, they're sitting back there too, and I think a lot of them are put off in a way by the form. I mean, I don't think everybody agrees with them. Places like EXP Realty are making a big show out here in the Northwest and starting to really come out. So there's competition. There's competition for these guys out here now. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, you're really right. In fact, I know Keller pretty well. I know a lot of Keller agents, and I know that Keller's Brain Trust right now are having meetings and get-togethers trying to figure out a way to deal with the EXP epidemic. And make no bones about this, guys. It is an EXP epidemic. And I think a lot of the reasons why they're doing this with Keller Mortgage is this is their knee-jerk reaction to losing as many agents to EXP as they have. Now, in case you guys don't know, EXP was put together by Keller agents, okay? So they ripped them off. They did. But what they did is, see, Keller Williams, they require you to have a huge brick-and-mortar presence and reserves. So they want you to have big, beautiful buildings. EXP doesn't require that. And Keller is all about profit sharing. Okay, so they
Yeah,
offer
and the way
profit.
that, just to dovetail off that real quick, Brian,
Sure.
the way that I was explained to it by a Keller agent was, not in all states, not in all states you can be an agent and a managing broker, right? So this is the way she explained it to me, and she's like, everybody owns their own business, so to speak. Keller, you can just make a lot of money by having a large downline. So don't have that multi-level marketing deal. Then you go over to an EXP, and the way she explained it to me is the attraction to them is you get almost like stock options. You buy in the stock or something along those lines. And so that's a completely different feel, a different look. Nobody's ever done that. The closest they've done is the Keller model. So that was part of the attraction, is what she told me.
Yeah, it is, and so you're spot on there. So my understanding is Keller is going to give you profit sharing, and it's going to go 3 deep. Okay, so they're going to give you off of the net. So the people, your downlines, you're going to get a portion of your downlines less the cost to bring that money to market type of thing. Whereas where they don't require the big brick and mortar with EXP, they actually go 7 deep, and they don't go off the net, they go off the gross. So your downlines are worth quite a bit more with EXP rather than Keller. Now, okay, so not just to bash Keller, one thing Keller does is if you go to any of their offices, they're generally the nicer offices in your area. I mean, they do. They require you to have a nice presence because they're a professional outfit, and they do a great job. They really honestly do. And perhaps it's that EXP is working well in a market where properties sell so quickly, or maybe, just maybe, that this whole technology thing is going to stick around, and the whole brick and mortar business model is going by the wayside. So it's hard to say.
It's not a knock on Keller.
No.
Like the agents that I've talked to, they've said, the fees are what they are. I mean, we've all just kind of known those across the industry. But when we really take a look at it, one of the real value propositions that Keller has is their education model, is the different tools that they are providing us. And whether we like it or not, Keller Mortgage is part of those tools. Now, is it being used in a compliant way? I definitely think it's not. But it's just another tool that they're bringing to the table to keep their agents there. So you're right. It's probably a knee-jerk reaction.
By the way, Eli says that's what I said. Profit share, it goes 7 levels deep, which is twice as much as Keller. And Brian Harlan says go buy EXP like I did when it was just below $5. It's the best virtual real estate model available. And that Brian brings up a great point here. One of the things with EXP is they have their online university, and it's actually kind of a trip. You can actually go walk through it like a video game, and you go into the doors, and they have trainings that are recorded. They have trainings that are live. So what they're doing is they're making technology available to you in a really, really fantastic way. Now, some people need, the Keller model where you go to family reunion and you have the money bath or the treasure bath or whatever those crazy wacko things they do are. And by the way, it works for people, and their training is great. Your average Keller agent is going to be better than your average agent. But there's a new.
Oh, yeah, I heard family reunions like a coach flip for real estate agents.
Yeah, and they're huge, and the big get-togethers are important for some, but there's younger generations who work more effectively online. Hey, Sean, I'm gonna let you go. I got somebody from Texas. This might be somebody from Keller. This could be really fun. Okay, I'll talk to you. All right. Hello, this is Brian. Hello. Hey, listen, if you are in Texas and you just called me up, please call me back, especially if that was a Keller agent or Keller Williams International. I'd love to hear from you guys. But you just hung up. But again, the number, it is 281. Oh, here we go. Great. Hello, Brian Stevens. Who do I got here?
Brian, Eli.
Hey, Eli. Okay, all right. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things about KW Profit Share.
Okay.
Okay, so KW Profit Share does those 7 levels, just like EXP.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things that KW Profit Share is versus EXP is that KW Profit Share is willable to your children, your wife and children, your grandchildren. I think it goes 3 levels that you can will it after death.
Okay.
EXP, you can't. You can only will it to another licensed person. So, for example, if my son is a teacher and I pass away, he still gets that profit share. Versus EXP, for example, unless my son becomes a realtor, I can't hand that over to them.
Okay. Now with EXP, you become fully vested after 3 years, don't you?
You do, but you have to keep your license active because what you're giving away is part of the revenue.
Okay.
And you can't get paid revenue unless you're licensed.
Okay. Now, then how is Keller doing it if you're telling me it's illegal for EXP to be doing it then?
Because it's not revenue, it's profit. It's profits from the market center, which you can give to basically anybody.
Okay. And who are you working for? Who do you work with right now?
Me, I'm with Keller Williams.
And have you looked at the EXP model?
I have. I actually signed up for EXP last summer, and I was there for, I think, 6 hours.
Okay. And what happened in 6 hours?
So basically, I ran the numbers, and of course, I think with any model, it all depends on how you run your business. And for me, it just didn't make sense. Number one, I can't work from home, right? So the cloud, I think the cloud EXP thing with the cloud, I think it's a great idea for those who can take advantage of it. I like to have my office where my assistant has their desk, transaction coordinator has their desk, but we have the boards where I can disconnect from home. So when I get home, home is home, and there's no work in my house.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the big. The second was that although the cap is smaller, for example, KW, our cap is $21,000. The cap at EXP is $16,000. When you add the transaction fees, because EXP, after you cap at $16,000, EXP still charges you $250 per transaction for the next 20. So when you add it up, it's still $21,000. So it's the same exact amount of money, but you don't have the market center, you don't have somebody at the office all day that's always answering your phone calls who you don't pay extra for. You don't have the printers and the conference rooms and the meeting rooms and the training rooms and the classes. We have title companies that come to our market center to teach classes. So it just for me, it didn't make any sense because I wasn't saving any money. Now the revenue share part of it, yes, with EXP, that model, the revenue share can be more profitable, but it's the same thing. You still have to recruit. You still have to have people under you. So I just didn't. For me, the value wasn't there. But that was just for me, right?
Yeah, and by the way, I totally get it. And Eli, I want to explain this to you as I've explained to everybody else. And I understand people. This has always happened as long as I've been shooting videos for the past 10 years. People only hear what they want to hear what I'm saying, and I have said time and time again, as I reiterated today, Keller produces a better real estate agent than most companies in the country. They do. If a Keller office is generally going to be the nicest office you're going to go into, And I'm posing the question is the online model for here, or is this a Johnny-come-lately? So, and I know Keller down there in Austin, Texas. In fact, I'm going to be in Austin, Texas in a couple of days at a MGIC mortgage insurance get-together. And so I know all the guys down there. I love Keller Williams. I love their agents. I love their model. I am not against it. I am against what they're doing with Keller Mortgage. And so you do see that you can see how I'm distinguishing between the two, because I'm an advocate for loan officers and real estate agents, not for brokers and mortgage companies. Does that make sense?
Although lately you do sound like you're an advocate for EXP, though.
Well, I'm kind of doing that, sticking a yeah. You have to understand when I'm doing it. I've got a grin on my face. I know that EXP is something that bothers Keller at their corporate headquarters. I know this for a fact. I know that they're sitting around and they're having get-togethers and talks about how to fight off EXP. And I know that EXP has taken a lot of the top Keller agents out there. And my whole thing is I'm jabbing that, but I'm doing it in the same breath. I'm asking Gary Keller to take that stupid form out of his upfront forms that he's giving these real estate companies, because that's a death blow to a lot of great loan officers. So they take that form out of there. You will hear me stop talking about EXP real quick.
All right, I'll call Gary and tell him.
Can you call him?
For the record, no, I'm just messing with you. I don't have access to Gary. You got to be in the top 100 agents to. Hey,
I've been to Gary. I've been in Gary's office. I've been in his personal office at his personal desk. I know all about that place.
Yeah, when you you get invited to his house to play the guitar with him, that's when you know you've hit it big.
No, I don't think they're going to be inviting me back
what,
anytime soon.
Hey, Brian, my honest opinion is I don't think EXP is going to knock off KW any more than KW knocked out Remax. What I do think is I almost wish somebody would come up with a model that meets both of them in the middle. I think that's where the magic is going to be, because brick and mortar will always be around. If it wasn't going to be around, Amazon wouldn't be buying buildings, and stores wouldn't be popping up everywhere. I don't think EXP is going to erase KW. I don't think KW could erase EXP either. I think they both have a magic that I wish before this guy went and did EXP, I wish Gary Keller would have listened to him, because there is some truth in both systems. One of the biggest advantages that EXP has that nobody talks about, which this is probably going to help them. What I'm going to say is going to help them bring people on. One of the biggest advantages they have is that you can cross state borders, with one brokerage license.
Yeah.
Which is huge. For example, if I'm a licensed agent here in Houston and I want to expand my team to LA County or Orange County in California, I got to go over there and pay a full cap again. But with EXP, you only have one cap, no matter where you go in the U.S. So that's a big thing that EXP has that nobody talks about. All this bullshit about stock options, nobody cares about stock options, man. Stocks go up and down. It could be worth $10 today, it could be worth $1 tomorrow.
No, I get where you're coming from. And by the way, if you don't know this, so you pay $16,000 your first year at EXP, and then they give you $16,000 in stock options. So that would be another EXP benefit. And what Eli's saying is, well, stocks go up, they go down, and for all you know, that could be worthless in a couple of days. Hey, listen, Eli, I got to tell you something right now, man. I want you to understand, it's people like you who I advocate for. It's the guy down there who's kicking ass and trying to do a great job. And if I saw something that I thought was hurting you, and I could use my platform to help you out, a real estate agent, trying to carve out a place for yourself and your family, I'd be right there with you as well. So I totally appreciate what you're talking about. And thanks for sticking in here. And if I could, I'd like to, I know a couple great loan officers down there in the Houston area. Can I hook you up with them?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Eli, I'm going to hook you up with somebody when I get off the phone. I'm going to make that connection today.
All right, man. Sounds good, Brian. Thank you again.
Thank you. So, this is what you get from most of your Keller agents when you talk to them, and I appreciate that. I mean, Eli, he's coming in here. He's got a great take. He's not bashing. He's saying it how it is and what's working for him. I like guys like that. Again, I want to make this very clear. I like the Keller agents out there. Some of my best friends are Keller agents. It's nothing against them. But yes, as long as they have this forum in here, I am going to continue to bring it up, as I think I should. But thanks for everybody. We're shooting on an hour here. This totally went fast. What a bunch of fun. Make sure you check out Preapp 1003 and your OBS, your Open Broadcaster software. I'll be doing webinars, how you can do all this great stuff and produce your live videos, get tons of views, and turn those views into leads. With that said, guys, thank you so much. Make it a great day selling, and I will see you guys mañana. Adios.